Hi guys, welcome to this video. Today I'm gonna change the interior trim of my Volvo V70. Currently I have the aluminum optics inside, which is in a lot of cars in Europe, I think. And next to that, Volvo also offered, I think, a black interior. Then the classic like piano wood interior, and they also have a modern wood, which is the natural wood that doesn't have any glass on it, but it's like natural wood when you touch it. And this is actually one I really like. It's very rare in Europe, I believe. Well, at least I had a really hard time to find any online, any used parts. I found some, but I don't know, the Europeans are just crazy with the prices for those things. Like one trim part was around 80 euros or something, just for one door. So there's no way I'm gonna pay this amount of money for changing the style. So my goal was to get the modern wood optic. This is the way they call it, from Volvo. And what I found is that a lot of Volvo S80s in the US came standard with that optic trim inside. So what I did is I bought this trim on eBay in the US, and I had it shipped to a friend who lives in Florida, and then they forwarded it to me, and I got this now. Now my trim that I got is already quite abused, I would say. It has a lot of hits in it, and a lot of it already, I don't know, maybe a lot of water came on and sun, so it started to chip. So I'm not gonna put it in right away, but I'm gonna visit a friend of mine who works on restaurates old furniture, and I'll see what he can do for me to get these old wooden trim parts a new look. So that's the first thing I'm gonna do. So here you can really see how bad the condition is. Parts chipped off, and they got really dried out. You have a lot of hits on the trims, especially on the doors, of course. And this is the color that is pretty much the most near to the original. The other ones just got lighter because of the sun and because of the wear. Here you can, on the middle console part, really see the wear very well. Chipped off on some parts, but also they're really thin chipping on the sides of that trim part. You can see here, yeah. So that needs to be fixed. That part, the same thing. It has a lot of like chips in. So that's how you pretty much fix those parts. That's the original condition. As I just told you, that was in a really good condition. And I'm gonna now sandpaper them off. I already started on this part, in order to get a really smooth surface back on those trim parts. So you really see the original color of the wood. I believe it's a nut wood, and what you use is some oil and some. I started with 120 sandpaper, and you just try to smoothen out those parts and get the coloring off of them. What I use is a linen oil. I guess it's the German word is Leinöl. And you just put it on the sandpaper and you go over the parts. You can see here
how the color just comes off. And of course that's wood, the really thin layer of the wood. That's quite some work, but you know, just grab your laptop and watch some YouTube videos while you do that job, and so you don't really have to do a lot of thinking on that. Now just take off all the dirt that was left over after you sandpaper it off, and here you see how it comes off nicely if you just use some paper towel. And now just take a even smoother sandpaper. I chose a 320. Go ahead, go up till 500 or whatever you like to make the surface really smooth. That's just your personal choice, how natural you want to have it, or how smooth you want to have it. So that's my result now. It feels super smooth after using the 320. That was sufficient for me. So I did the same thing on the second trim part, and after sandpapering you use a paper towel again, and again take off all the dirt, and then you're done. Now, I chose to stay with the original nut color just because I like the contrast of the beige later in my car, or it's more white beige, the black, and this bright wood look. The original trim is pretty dark, even if you don't see it in the video, but it's more like dark brownish, blackish dark. So there's a process, like there's a material you can put on that to make it dark again. However, I chose, for a start at least, to keep the woods natural and bright. This is, by the way, also the direction that the newer model, the V90 and S90, goes to. They have bright wood color inside. Now, finally, you just put on some oil on the parts, and just let it stay on there. Let it dry in or suck in for 1 or 2 days. This wood is pretty dry, so I just want to give it some oil that it can suck on for the next couple of years, so it won't that easily start to chip again. And this is something you can do all the time. Just put some linen oil on the parts, like after a year or so when you clean your car. That keeps them nice and fresh. Alright, it's all set. I'll just give you a quick look, a close look on the result. I would say really all the ugly stuff came out. So I was super surprised how well that worked and how easy it was. Just watch out a little bit that you don't take off too much material, because the wood layer itself is pretty thin. And it happened to me, you can see it at this, the middle console part, that at some points I took off a little bit too much material. But in the overall result, you're not going to notice. And also those hits, you see them, but since it's natural wood, they don't really seem to be such a big issue anymore.
So I'm back in a car, and I'm ready to put the new trim parts in. You can see here just another look on how the current chrome or aluminum trims look like. I have them here and around the fans, and there's one
And again the door, and the doors in the back. And then also in the middle console there's this part. So I'll just quickly show you the current wood trims. I had them rest for a couple of days, and you can really see that it's not glossy anymore. It's kind of really smooth now, but no more shine on them. Also, this was a little bit broke off. I had to glue it on, and here as well the plastic was broken when I got it, and I had to glue that on as well. Let's hope it still works. Okay, so let's put it in and see how it goes. So this is just the clips that hold it in there. And this is the clips in the new one. So here you see the clip on the top. You make just sure to go in there with something to be able to push that in, because otherwise you want to have a chance to get this part out. Now comes the tricky part. There's a little hole back there, and go in there with a rectangle key, whatever fits in there. I have a Torx key, and then try to pull on that to get out the vents. It's a bit tricky and it's pretty hard to pull, but that works this way. If you have a special tool, it's gonna be much easier, of course. If you want to reuse the old vents, you have to screw them off. I also had to reuse some of the old clips because they were missing a new trim. And also what you can see here, that the aluminum trim is based on a plastic frame. The wood trim is based on an aluminum frame. That means you're going to use different screws. The right one is for the aluminum trim, and the left one is the one for the wood trim. So if you don't have them with your trim, make sure you're going to buy 10 of those to finish the job. You're definitely going to need them to finish it. Okay, that can go back in. Also make sure to not make the same mistake than I did, and guide through the green connector before you push back the trim. Woohoo! Job done! So let's recap the project in terms of skills you need, time, and cost. Well, I'd say you don't really need any skills, so that's a beginner job. Everyone can handle a screwdriver and some sandpaper. For the parts and the shipping, I paid around 102 euros. Then the oil was for free because I got it from my friend, and the sandpaper 3 euros, so 105 euros. I needed about 7 hours, so 1 hour for research and buying the stuff. Expect about 5 hours to do the sandpaper work, and another hour to put the parts in and out. So sum it up to about 7 to 8 hours. So that's it. I'm super happy with the result. I love the smell of the wood inside the car and the touch and look as well. I definitely recommend this job just because it makes a tremendous difference in the appearance inside your car. So thank you for watching and enjoy the results.